Lionel Nelson here, and welcome to A Father's Note, promoting fathers through building men. It's so important that we always stand up for our fathers. We want you to know we're with you. We're standing behind you 110%.
Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to another episode of A Father's Note. As always, we're certainly glad that you took the time to join us on this evening. You know, here on A Father's Note, we believe in promoting fathers through building men. I am your host. I'm sure you know that by now, Mr. Lionel Nelson. Nevertheless, it's always a pleasure for me to come and one of these days, I guess, own me a golden mic, sit behind the golden mic and talk to you for a little bit. But nevertheless, we have a great show prepared for you tonight. We're going to be talking about love beyond death, not just life, but love beyond death. I have a great individual as our guest tonight. Many of you, I'm sure, know her. She is the former guitar of the legendary Little Shadows, none other than Dr. Glenice Glover. And she's going to be joining us soon. But before we bring her on, you know, I have to always do what a son should do. And, you know, my mother, the Lord blessed her to be able to write a book. And we just going to keep promoting it. As a matter of fact, I have a copy of it here. Okay. It's a very great book. Listen. This book addresses one of the things that I know happens in a lot of marriages, and that is infidelity. Hello, sis. I see you, Ms. Turner, Mr. Gibbons. Good evening to all of you. Thank you for joining the show. But infidelity has a tendency to, or have over time, destroyed a lot of marriages, especially whether or not the husband or the wife steps outside of marriage. But I can tell you my mother lived with that. And in this book, she gives a testimony of how she was able to overcome it through doing it God's way. And by doing it God's way, it allowed her to win. So listen, let me do this here. I'm going to go and support Mom. You can cash app her, and she would definitely see to it that you get this book. I think they're $10. I'm not sure. Don't misquote me on that. I don't know exactly what they're selling for. I just bless Mom. Yeah, because this book is very helpful. The Lord blessed me. I was able to help her put it together along with some very good friends. But go check this book out. Check this book out. If you're dealing with infidelity in your marriage, go check out this book, okay? It'll be very helpful. I promise you, you won't regret it. There have been many that have shared their testimony after reading the book, and they have talked about how it has been very helpful to them. So, it's $20. Okay, it's $20. Okay, the book's $20. Listen, let me explain something to you about. Some of you may say, well, $20, man, that's a lot for a book. But see, what you all fail to look at, the wealth of information, the wisdom that you would get out from this book for $20. Okay, some of you would pay $30,000 and $40,000, $50,000 for a college degree. But whatever college degree can't compare to what this book contains on the inside. Yes. So she shares a testimony from the time that her and my father got married, how he pursued her, how he pursued her, and he won. But hey, you know, he got tempted. And but in the end, guess what? I still had my father. Even up till last week, many of you may know by now, you know, my father has transitioned. But up until that time, absolutely. Let me put this up. And this is godly wisdom. Amen. Wisdom is priceless. $20 is affordable. It's worth it. Even if it's not you, let's say if a friend of yours has confided in you about infidelity in their marriage, husband or wife, get them this book. Get them this book. But as I was about to say, up until the time that my father transitioned on last Thursday, my mother has been right there by his side since the very, 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 very beginning. Um, Let me see here. Yep. So this is when I think they was getting ready to get married. My understanding, my mom is 18 years old on this picture here, and that's my father. That's back in Carolina. That's before they moved to Florida, and ever since then, as a matter of fact, they started dating. My mom says she was 14 years old when her and my father started dating. The story is in the book. You ought to want to check it out. The story is in the book. But since then, her and my father have been blessed to live a life together of 70 years. 70 years of life, of marriage. Well, 66 of marriage. I stand to be I think it is June 4th or July. Don't have me lying here. I have to go back and look. But anyway, yeah, I think it was June 26th. One of them, I'm messing up, y'all. Let me be quiet. Be quiet. But I think it's June or July. They would have been married 66 years. Okay, I know I got that right. I'm sure my sister's on here. She probably can help me out here. Okay, but yeah, I got I got a couple of more slides here I can share with you. But I don't want to hold my guest up any longer. Let me share with y'all another slide here. Let me see here. Yeah, that's me right there. Me and mom. How about that? I had to throw that one in there. Hey, y'all see how beautiful my mother was? I know. Yeah, I'm gonna talk about pops in a minute, but you see how beautiful mom was? Man, let me tell you something. I love them both. I love them both, and I certainly appreciate them. I think I might have another one here. Let me see here. Nope, nope, I don't. Oh, well, I'm sorry, y'all. I have to catch you on the next one. As a matter of fact, something I should have done there, and I see I didn't do it. Okay, anyway, let's move on. Let's move on. So, hey, get the book. All right, you won't regret it. So let's talk about love beyond death. And without any further ado, I want to bring on my guest, Dr. Glenice Glover. Welcome her to. Come on, put some hand claps in the chaps, everybody. Welcome to A Father's Note.
Thank you.
And I am so honored. I am so honored to be have you on the show. Thank you so much for accepting my last minute invitation. I know it's kind of, but I certainly appreciate you. And how I look at that, that you have a heart for our family, just like we have a heart for your family. And we certainly appreciate you coming on where we could talk about a subject matter that you yourself, along with your siblings, have experienced not just once, but twice. Yeah. And that is love after death, especially once we lose a loved one, especially when it's a parent. Okay. So one of the things though, when I think you were sharing with me that it was your mother that transitioned first. How long ago was that?
Mom passed on March 26th of 2019.
That's just recently.
Yeah, just 2.5 years ago, 3 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So were you all expecting that, as far as
No, we actually anticipated my dad leaving before my mom, because my dad was a World War II veteran. And by the way, condolences to your family in the loss of your dad.
Thank you.
But my dad was a World War II veteran, okay, in the 1940s. And when his platoon, when when they bombed Hiroshima, they sent my dad's platoon over. It was like a nitrogen bomb, I believe.
Right, right,
And I think they were doing an experiment. My dad feels like it was an experiment to see what the ramifications of the nitrogen on the human body would be.
right.
So he was there, and when they brought them back, he was hospitalized for months.
Right, right.
And he feels like his condition, the last 10 years of his life, which he was bedridden, we thought it was Alzheimer's, but he didn't have Alzheimer's because he knew all of us. He
Right.
knew all of us. He knew when we were there, when we were not there. He was cognizant of all of his surroundings and everything. But he was bedridden. He could not move.
Mm.
And he could not speak.
And how old was he at this time?
At that time when it started, he was like 83.
Okay.
He
Okay.
passed away. He was 94.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. Okay. All right.
Yeah. So we anticipated him going first.
Mhm.
But when you think about it, when you have a bedridden partner and you're primarily the caretaker, it takes a toll on the caretaker way more than it does the the one that's in the invalid position.
Right. Right.
And once my mom got, say around 75-ish, we
Mhm.
hired a nurse to
Okay.
come and do a 40-hour week at the house to take care of my dad because she was too frail to lift him and to,
Right.
make sure he was
Right.
taken care of. So we did hire a nurse, and the VA paid for it
Mhm.
for him to be taken care of. But it ended up that she, it took its toll on her because she felt like if she couldn't take care of him, nobody could. She felt like she was the one that should have been taking care of him the whole time, and she kind of resented someone else coming in to help her. But the person that we got happened to be a family member,
Mhm.
her niece, our first cousin, who kind of grew up with us. So that made it easier. She really loved her, and my dad loved her hands. He was very finicky and very particular about being touched and about uh,
Mhm.
being handled. So we went through a lot of nurses and everything just to get him the proper care that he would
Right.
be comfortable with and that my mom would be comfortable
Right.
with. But
Right.
it ended up taking a toll on my mom because she wouldn't sleep at night. She wanted to make sure that every time he made a noise, she would rush into the room to make sure he was okay and that kind of thing. So for years, she didn't sleep.
Wow.
And that took a toll on her body, on her mentally, everything. And then she just got frail and just ended up going into the hospital one
Mm.
Saturday and didn't come out.
Wow.
Yeah.
When you talk about the care that your mother gave to your father, even in his imbecile state, it just goes to shows the magnitude of love and admiration that a woman have for her man. And I can tell you that my father, he was able to do for himself, but my mother became his chauffeur. She began to do other things for him that he was not capable of doing for himself. Of course, you all seen the I'm sure you've seen the post where I said I showed about my father's favorite pastime. He
Mhm.
loved to eat.
Yeah.
He loved to eat. So,
Yeah.
and a lot of times, when we go around there, hey, Pops, did you do any walking today? And it would always be, yeah, from my lounger to the kitchen.
Yes.
So let me park this here. So, um, I think a month or two, maybe 2 months before we in the current situation we're in right now. So I guess we have been on about walking, to exercise his body, whatever.
Right.
So my mom shared the story that one day he decided that he's going to go for a walk,
Mhm.
and so when he left the house, he didn't take his phone or anything. So he's
Mhm.
going to take a walk about 2 blocks from the house, where we at, and he walked to a major highway. So
Okay.
because she had went off, so she came back and she noticed he wasn't there.
Oh
So
boy.
she waited and waited and waited and waited. So she called, and that's when she realized his phone. He didn't have his phone. So about an hour and a half went by. So she decided, let me go and look for him. So when she found him, he was down the street, sitting up, posting up at Kentucky Fried Chicken. She said he was so happy to see that truck.
He walked up an appetite.
But he never walked again, though. He never decided to walk again anyway. But that's Pops, man. That's Pops. Yeah. But she really took care of him. She was even by his side, when he transitioned.
Yes.
And of course, it was an emotional moment. But just again, just to see how my mother tended to my father was just absolutely amazing. And we strive as much as we possibly can to look out for her, to give her space, things like that. Yeah.
Right.
I can go into more detail, but nevertheless, let me ask you this though. So when your mother transitioned, what was your coping mechanism at that time? And if you can relate to some of your siblings' coping mechanism, I guess we'd like to hear that as well.
Well, I was doing research as well on death and how to deal with it, and the stages. There are 7 stages actually of the grieving process. And the first stage is shock. And that's something that everybody goes through. And we were all shocked. First of all, I would go down. I live in Palm Beach, so I'm about 2 hours plus away from them.
Right.
But I would go every week, sometimes twice a week, to make sure that everything was done, that they had what they needed, and do the grocery shopping and all of that sort of thing. So I had just left her the Friday, and then the Saturday, I got the call that she was rushed to the hospital. I'm like, what? I just so to go down there the Saturday, then again the Sunday, and all of the travel and everything. Is like I was so tired, I was so beat. And then the Wednesday when they said she was gone, it's like, oh Lord, no.
Where were you when you got that news?
When I got the news, we had I was home. I was here in Palm Beach. I was home. I know we had it arranged. There were 6 of us. Somebody was at the hospital every day. Okay. Yep. Wednesday was not my day to be there, but we would keep in touch to make sure that everybody knew what was going on at all times. When I got the message that she was gone, my son spent the night with her the night before.
Wow.
And and then the nurses called me. He left and went to shower to go to work, and then within an hour after he left, they called me and let me know, because I was the primary person. She had passed away. And so again, I had to, first of all, in shock, because I just knew she was coming home. I didn't believe that she was going to pass away in the hospital. I believe that.
Is that because you felt the reason that she went in there was not that major?
Yes. I thought maybe they would help her to sleep, because she was not sleeping. Okay. And I think the fact that she wasn't sleeping kind of tore her down for so long. It kind of tore her body down.
You're talking about over 10 years.
Yes, you're talking about over the course of a decade. She wouldn't sleep properly. She'll fall asleep in the chair, and if she hears something, she jumps up, runs to the room, never resting. Mm-hmm. So I thought maybe they would give her something or kind of mellow her temperament so that she could get the rest, start catching up on her rest. But it didn't work that way. Wow. They told us that her kidneys started failing, and this started failing, and that started happening, and she didn't want to be resuscitated. So I gave them all of the orders, but I believe they still tried everything to keep her here. They had the paperwork. I still think they did everything they could to keep her here.
Right.
And she just did not make it, So then
did she ever give any inclination that she pretty much was ready to just to leave here, to go?
Yep. When we put her in the hospital, she started singing this song, and I'll never forget. She started singing Swing Low,
Mm.
Sweet Chariot, coming for to carry me home.
Wow.
And she kept singing it. That was her hint to us that she was not coming back. She wouldn't make it. But even against that, I'm still hopeful. She's gonna be okay. She'll be
Right.
home. She's going back home. He's not This is
Right.
not the end.
So I
And
guess you
then
kind of like be in that frame of mind. You see it, you hear it, but you maybe deny, maybe
yeah,
too strong of a word, but yet still that's pretty much where you at. You're gonna always continue to believe, always continue to have the faith that that God can.
God can. That's right. That he can and he will. He's done it before.
Right.
But when it's a person's time, there's nothing or anyone that can keep him here. God has the answer. He has the final say.
I'm
Period.
glad you said that because I certainly believe that.
Oh,
I believe that's what the state of my father was. I believe that's where his state was because he would always say things. He was ready. He would always talk about death and things like that. There, we just didn't know. Look. I expected him to live to at least see 100. He was such a strong man.
right.
I also realized though that he was a sickly man, if I can say that. He didn't
Mhm.
let it on because his hysteria was always so
Yes. They're
you
very
see, of course, we expect some things. He's 80 years old, 80 plus years old. Okay, I remember a time when my father used to be able to jump a fence on one leap, like Superman. I know that was gonna happen now. He's gonna find the nearest gate and just walk to it, no matter where it's at. He had to get on the other side of that fence. But
Mhm.
I think that's something that we really need to accept. That when they're ready to go, they're just ready to go, and that's just where we
Exactly.
have to be at with that. What effect did it have on your son?
On my son?
Yes.
Oh Lord. Um my son is very quiet. He's like his daddy. He doesn't verbalize or vocalize a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But when I got to him, and he doesn't show emotion, but he cried and he cried and he cried. And there were times after the passing of my mom, I would go to the funeral, to the grave site every week, once a week. Others of my siblings haven't I been back yet,
Wow.
but I would go every week, bring flowers. For she loved roses, so
Mm-hmm.
I would always put
My
fresh
mother.
roses. Yeah, I would always put fresh roses because she had rose bushes around the house and everything, and she would clip me roses, fresh roses, whenever they bloom.
Right.
And so that was my takeaway. I would meet my son. We don't tell each other when we're going, but I would be at the gravesite and he would be there too. Once I got there, he was just crying and I just held him because he remembers her in the very last moments. He was there at her bedside all night. So again, he doesn't talk a whole lot, but it really did affect him. It really did.
Right. Right.
It hurt him.
But how did you cope with it though?
Much prayer, much tears, much for a while I just, again, the shock. That's the first stage of the grief. Shock is like, even though we know God is in control and he has the last say and he doesn't make a mistake and he's going to do, he's sovereign. He does what he wants, when he wants, how he wants, with whom he wants. We know all of that. But when this thing called death hits someone close to you and it breaks your heart, all that other stuff, it's out the window. It's like, this is my
Right.
mom.
Right.
This is my mom. So yeah, to this point, to this day, to get to where I am, I've gone through a process. I've
Right.
gone through a process.
Okay.
And there are times now, every time her birthday comes around, every time Mother's Day comes around, every time Thanksgiving comes around, Christmas, we all gathered at their home at Christmas time. All the kids, the grandkids. I mean, it's the most festive holiday of the year. Everybody was there. And they had a small 900 square foot home, but
Right.
when I tell you 30 to 50 people were there every year to celebrate. I
Right.
mean, it was and now it's gone. That part of it is gone. So the only thing that has helped me to get through this is I shed my tears,
Right.
I write, I play my music, I talk about them.
Right.
I Because grief, and I think we started talking about this, grief is a process. It's not something you get over overnight.
Wow. Can't get over it overnight. Get over it overnight.
No, you don't get over it overnight. You go through something to get through.
So let me ask you this. Let me ask you this because you also share with me that 4 months later, once your mother had transitioned, 4 months later, your father transitioned. How about talk to us about that?
Oh, yeah. My dad, although he could not talk, although he did not move, he was bedridden. He knew when my mother was in the house and when she was not. Much like your parents, they'd spent more than 63 years together.
Mm,
Okay, so they have been together all their life. They never spent a night apart.
right.
They
Right.
were always together. They had their ups and downs, their crazies like everybody else, because both of them were from a broken home.
Right.
They vowed to make our home their last home. That's just the vow that they made. Well, how do you do that when you don't have an example that was set before you? My mom, her mother left when she was 12, so she had to become mother to her three siblings.
Wow. Wow.
And then my dad, his parents left when he was in third grade. Both of them were gone. So
Mm,
he grew up from house to house to house. Whoever would allow him to stay with them, that's how he grew up. So they didn't have an example to follow, but they knew that they wanted better for their family of six. So they stayed together against all odds and trusted God to help them to raise us. So they knew one another. Daddy knew when mama was in the house. I don't know if he smelled her. I don't know how he knew it, but he knew she was there, and he knew when she wasn't there. If he didn't hear her, he knew that she wasn't there.
right.
But when she passed away, it was literally 4 months. He could tell that something was going on. He knew he'd missed her. And she would come visit us for the weekend sometimes, but it was longer than a weekend that he didn't hear her voice in the house.
Mm-hmm.
So he knew that she was gone. 4 months to the day that we buried my mom, we buried her April the 4th, 2019. On August 4th, 2019, I got word that my dad was gone. He slept away.
Mm,
And
mm,
paramedics were called. They took him to the hospital, of course, but he was gone. They say he's passed in the ambulance, but I believe he died in his sleep.
right. Right. Right.
And it was like, oh my God, not again. We cannot go through this again, because I was praying, God, give us a year. We knew that because they were so close and they had done everything together for all that time, we knew he wouldn't be here much longer. He was 10 years her senior.
Mm-hmm.
But we were praying, I was praying for a year to
Right.
kind of recoup it from mom's
Wow.
death. But
Mm-hmm.
he saw differently. The Lord saw differently. And 4 months to the day, he took my dad.
You
And
know,
we go through that process all over again.
to listen to your talk, it seems though, even though he was in that non-responsive and communicating perspective, he was unable to communicate or move. It sounds like he lasted 10 years because mom was around.
That's what we said. We said he vowed to take care of her until death do them part. And he took care of her. His retirement monies, his social security monies took care of her. And
Wow.
then it wasn't until she passed that he said, I'm hanging on until she goes.
Wow.
That's what we said too. We pulled that together
Wow.
just like that.
Wow.
And sure enough, 4 months to the day, he was gone.
So again, here it is. You're burying both of your parents within 4 months of each other.
Mhm.
How did the family handle that? Because it's no doubt. uh, Well, when you talk about your festive opportunities and times at the house, it's no doubt that you definitely was a family that believed in being close together.
Right.
How did you all were you all to really cope with that? Because I was at the service when you
Yes.
all sung for them. That was amazing. That was
Mhm.
certainly amazing. But how were
Mhm.
you all able to cope with that?
You know, we did what we were taught to do. It had become a part of us to just be with each other. Okay.
Mm,
After even organizing the funerals, both my mom and my dad, and organizing everything, everybody, we learned that everybody has a niche. Okay.
right.
I'm an accountant. So I was the one that was handling the monies.
Hmm.
I have another sister who was an executive secretary for the city of Miami Beach. She handled um, the the programs, that kind of thing. Another one who's teacher, so she handled the bulletin, the pictures, all of that stuff. So everybody had a little thing that they did. Leslie, she wanted to buy a suit and she wanted to dress him and wanted to make sure he was straight.
Right.
He took the information, his clothing and all, to the funeral home to make sure that he was well taken care of. Everybody had something that they wanted to do. And it all fit so well together. Everything was done so nobody had to beg anybody to do anything or anything. And then the Friday night before the services, we rehearsed and we sang in the house. It was just like Daddy was right there. And, Leslie was
Yeah,
singing and she was
right.
acting like Dad. We laugh a lot together. We laugh a lot together. So she's acting like him while she's singing, help me, Lord. So
Yeah,
so we all laughed, and I'm playing the guitar, and everybody's singing. All the nieces and nephews, it was like
right.
a
Right.
gathering, to
Wow.
commemorate.
Wow.
So
Absolutely.
it ended up being really, it was hard, very hard,
Hmm.
but with our humor and with our love, we got through it without any glitches at all. I mean, there was nobody mad at each other. That kind of thing that comes out with some
Right.
families.
Right.
We didn't have, thank God, we didn't have any of that.
That's great. That's great. It's because of what dad and mom instilled in you. You know,
Exactly.
it's interesting you say that because even when our father was in the ICU, I'm telling you, man, just being with this guy, even in that state, man, he had us laughing. It was he just wouldn't stop. I know one of my brothers had stayed with him one of my brothers had stayed with him one night. So when I went there to relieve him, I said, "Well, how Pops was last night?" He talking about he clowning, still clowning. Yeah,
That's good.
it's now I think that's what I believe though. I can't speak for all of my family members, but I know for from where my vision, where I see, just
Mhm,
thinking about all of the good memories that
mhm.
that those funny times and moments in which that we had with our father was so essential. I think it was a part of helping to cope.
Sure.
Again, think of the good things. Yes, I'm going to share this here because this might help somebody as well. When they were preparing my father to remove him from the room because I didn't want to leave. I wanted to be there till the very, very, very end. The family they had done, walked out and everything. But when I was looking at him there, and the Lord spoke to me, He said, "Listen, that's just clay.
Yeah.
He's not there. That's
Mm,
just clay. That's the vessel in
yeah.
which I've used for you all to be able to spend time with him, to
Mm,
be able to fellowship, to have those memorable moments. But that
mm.
is not him, you know.
Exactly.
And that was a consolation to me. That is
Amen.
a consolation. Of course, we're gonna miss him, but let's think about, I'm grateful that the
Mm.
Lord blessed me with 62 years
Amen.
my father because there are a lot of children that they can't say that they haven't had that opportunity. So I'm definitely grateful to that. Um, let me ask you. So your father left a legacy,
Hmm.
and I can say that my father left a legacy.
Hmm.
So what is the specific thing that you do to continue what your father has established with your family?
Okay, there are a few things. Our daddy left a legacy for us to love each other.
Okay.
So I'm kind of the one that pulls us all together. Okay. I'll, because if I don't do it, nobody's going to do it. And it's not that they don't love us, but it's just
Right,
that
right, right.
everybody has their own gifts and they have their own, whatever. So I still do that. I'll call them. Okay, we need to get together this quarter, or we need to get together for halftime of the year. We need to get together for Thanksgiving or Christmas. Choose,
Right.
that kind of thing. And it's another thing is music. My dad left a legacy of music. He gave us everything he had when it came to that music. And he used it as a tool to keep our family together. Because, like I said, he came from a broken home, and so did my mom. So
Mm-hmm.
that music was the glue that kept our family together. So I still do my music. I don't play like I used to play as often because there are other things that are being done, but that's something I will never stop doing. I will never give up
Right,
because that is my daddy. Every time I look at a guitar, I think I have 6 or 7 guitars hanging up in the room
right.
on stage. But
Mm-hmm.
every time I look at one or handle one, I think of my daddy because that's what he gave to me.
Yeah.
That's the main uh, that's the main pull that I got from him. That singing, that teaching music, that playing, that guitar playing, record, all of those kinds of things. It's just it's a part of me that I've got to keep going. And
Right.
we have one son that also sings. The one that was with my mom that night. He doesn't sing very much. I think he can, but he's more quiet. But our younger son does sing, and so he keeps. I believe it's important. The scripture says that the good father leaves an inheritance
Right.
to his children's children. A lot of times we look at that as money, and it could be money. They left us some of that too. But I think what goes even deeper than the money is the character that they poured into us. If we can just keep that legacy of integrity, that legacy of honesty, that legacy of Jesus Christ, that legacy of godly living, keep that going and pass that down to the generation of your children and your children's children, then you're doing a whole lot more than would if you would just leave money. Yeah, you want to leave money too, but you want to leave other things. There are other things that are more important than money. It's your character, your integrity. What are you doing when nobody's watching, when nobody's looking, and you think nobody's looking? Those kinds of things. I mean, I've lived to the best of my ability just like that because that's how I was taught.
I believe that that is where the value of continuing their legacy that it was you made. I just personally believe that you definitely made a great point in saying what you said. It's not just about the money when we talk about in the inheritance. uh,
Mhm.
I never looked at it like this until the transition of my father. And I have a very close friend that I had texted him that my father was no longer here. And then he responded to that. So then I texted him again. I said, my father was a great father. He was a great father. And it's interesting that he texted back and he said this. He said he sure was. And he left a great man behind. That thing got me.
Wow.
Now, honestly, he never really met my father. He may have seen him once or twice in over the 20 plus years that we've known each other.
Mhm.
That was his comment was. And I had another gentleman that I was talking with, and he had called me talking. And then and at the end of the conversation, he said this to me. He said, I never met your father, but I'm sure I met him through you.
Yeah, exactly right.
So when I look at that, when I hear people saying that to me, so that how I look at that and how I took that, something, I got to continue that about my father
Hmm.
because that was the legacy in which that he left for me. Because if people are seeing that in me or about me, that I reflect my father, then I need to continue that. I can't be selfish and deny that,
Hmm.
because then I'm dishonoring him
Yeah.
and I'm doing him a disjustice.
Hmm.
Um, I got to bear with me right now because it's hitting me right now.
Mhm.
Just talking about it. So if I sound like I'm stuttering or whatever, y'all just understand. You know, this thing is still fresh.
Oh, surely.
Um, but I mean, I really took that personal, and then I love the bass guitar. You know,
Mhm.
I love because just like what you said, that's something that my father gave me. Just like I put in the post, you know, my father um, put that guitar in my hand when I was 9 years old, and I haven't stopped playing it since. And as I was sharing with you, and it, again, I mean, Ms. Glenice, I think that we as children, when we have righteous parents, especially when we have parents who have walked that walk of Christ and Christianity, even though we may stray, but no matter how we may conduct or carry ourselves, our parents, those parents, they left something in us
That's right.
that can be beneficial to our life if we just stop a minute and take a look. You know, we always so busy. A lot of children are so busy finding fault in their parent, and I think that's when you get to that point. I'm going to say it this way: you're allowing the enemy to cause you to cancel your blessings, to cause you to cancel your inheritance when you do not, when you come against your parents. And I've been there, and I've shared the testimony with, a couple of gentlemen that, the whole time, the 30 years when I was constantly like this with my father, man, my life was constantly like this here. The
Mhm.
minute that I chose to get it right, the minute that I chose to have forgiveness, the minute that I chose to fix Lionel, my life began to climb. And then what happened? Our relationship, man. I love my father, man. I
Mhm.
love my father,
Mhm.
and I was so grateful for what God had blessed me and allowed me to experience the last moments with Him, and I'm grateful to God for that, because if I had a still been like I was, I wouldn't be where I'm at right now today.
Right. Right.
Even when I didn't have a kosher relationship with my father was still teaching me something.
Mhm.
Man, I can, where my mic dropped at, man. Anyway,
Mhm.
so yeah, that's the legacy. That is the legacy in which that we have. It's not always about. Let me share this here, and it's something I share with my own sons. Years ago, my father taught me. He said this to me. I might have been in my mid-20s. He said this to me. He said that a good name is better than many riches.
Mhm.
Good name is better than many riches. I didn't quite understood what he meant at the time when he said that.
Mhm.
Nevertheless, though, he demonstrated it one day because I was in need of a car, and I had told him about it. And so he tells me, he said, "Well, listen, go to such a car dealer, tell Mr. So and so who you are, and tell him to let you have a car." I went and did exactly what my father did. Went to the gentleman, the proprietor of the car dealership. Told him, I said, "Hey, sir, I am the son of Mr. Mosby Nelson." And he said for me to come see you about getting a car. And the short of the long, I drove off that car without spending one dime
Mhm.
on the name of my father.
Right.
And that was the integrity in which that he lived throughout his life. That's all I saw.
Mhm.
Him living out and being a person of integrity and great character. Everybody didn't like him.
Yeah.
You had to love him though, and he was gonna make sure of that.
Yeah.
Love him. You had to love him. But that's good. So what have been the thought process of some of your other siblings, and when it comes down to, can you say what have they done to continue your father and your mother's legacy, their legacy?
Well, Leslie. Leslie is I look just like my daddy. I play the guitar and all those kinds of things, but Leslie has that spirit of, oh God, that anointing
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to the song.
Right.
That girl, Lord have mercy.
Oh yeah.
She could close down a house, and the power and the anointing. So that singing, I'm telling you, that's what he instilled in us.
Right. Right.
She does that impeccably still.
Wow.
She will never stop, and she's always referencing my daddy and how he took the time with her, and she was more of a natural gift. He just gave her a microphone and she just started blowing at 5 years old.
I know. I remember.
Yeah.
I
So
rem-
she got the gift, literally the gift. She didn't have to work for hers, and
right.
she
Right.
continues it to this day.
Wow.
And Freddie, my brother,
Mm-hmm.
is another one that just like my dad, and he can teach the word of God so crystal clear that uh
So he has your daddy's spirit too, huh?
oh yes, Lord. He's just
Wow.
like my daddy. He is just like my daddy. He has a colored skin tone closer to my mom's, kind of between,
Right.
but his the word is so in him,
Wow.
just like my daddy. Um Sean, she's the baby, she's the
Right.
spoiled one, but she's married to a pastor too. So she's like my mama, she's first lady in the church.
Right. Right.
And, friend, she was married to Wilcox, she was before he passed away. So she too is in ministry as well. So none of us escaped. Now Thea, she's a little um she was very active in a ministry right now. With COVID, she doesn't do very much,
Right.
but it's still in her. It's in her.
Right.
I try to get her to pick the bass back up, but
He won't pick it back up.
mm-mm.
I got to call her now.
Yeah,
I have to call her because listen, she was my idol.
Yes, I told her what you said in our last interview.
Yeah,
Yeah, really?
she
I
was
said,
my
yes.
idol. And I'm like, hey, listen, that she set the bar in which that I was going after because I told her I'd never forget. I had to be about, I don't know, maybe about 11, 12 years old, something like that. And I'm like, you know what? One day I want to be either just as good as her, better.
Oh,
And that was my drive. That was my
yeah.
drive. She was so
That's
smooth
awesome.
with it,
Yeah.
But I got another question here. But I think the next question that I want to ask will better suit my next guest, my surprise guest on here, because I think he's pretty much living in this paradigm right now, and none other my dear brother, Mr. Andre Cross. What's up, bro?
Hey, good evening, everybody.
Hey,
Good
Andre.
evening.
How are you?
Oh, well, how are you doing?
Good, very good.
Good.
So I'm sure you was listening to what I'm glad you were able to join us, bro. And I'm sure you was listening to the ramification of this conversation. And you, like me, of course, I'm fresh with this, but you have been without your father for how long now? Say it again. Don't hear your voice. Don't hear you. Well. No, I don't. See, don't have no audio. How about log off and come back in? Try to come back in. All right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I want to hear what he has to say too, because his family pretty much where we're at. It's interesting. One of the things when you was talking, the thought that came to my mind was that legacy, that gifting, that anointing that was in your father, it was multiplied through his children.
That's very true.
And so when you talk about even now, even though he's no longer here, his legacy continues to still live within you. And I think that as children of parents who have lived a godly life, who have lived a life serving the kingdom and caring about the people of God, whether or not they were in church or out of church, I think that when you talk about multiplying, this is what we are supposed to be doing. And I think if we just focus on the mission, the charge that God has given us through them, I think that can better help us focus on, or like maybe I don't know. I'm just assuming help us cope with what is really going. This transitioning thing. You have gone without your parents for it's been about 3 years now. Boy, man, the time went by fast.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, going on 3 years. So you what we've got? You back, bro? What we got?
Y'all hear me? Please tell me you can hear me.
Yeah, I hear you. We hear you. You hear us?
All right.
You know what? You in and out. That's what's happening. But anyway, that's okay. Let's see if we could get through this here. How was it, the transition, when your father transitioned? How was it for you as far as you coping with it, man?
For me, and I know when I speak for me, I speak for my entire family. There's no perfect science to this. Truth be told, there's not. I mean, one day by.
Yeah, you still going in and out, because I really want to hear what you have to say, bro. You're still going in and out. You're vocal. Okay, call in. Try that. Yeah.
Okay.
Let me. I'm gonna send you the number. Well, I'll put the number up so you can call. And if any of if you are out there, the listeners, and you want to call in, you can call in on this number here. Okay, 954-559-9300. If you want to call in, you want to have a question for our guests, you can call in. Please feel free to do so. Or you may want to make a comment, about your experience, what you had to implement in order to cope with the loss of your parent. Listen, let me tell you something. This is not an easy thing, and everybody had to have to deal with it, or they will deal with it in certain ways. Okay, so I'm just waiting on him to call back. Yeah, was it hard for Freddie, your brother Freddie?
Yes, it was very hard for Freddie. He went. I was telling you earlier about the different stages of grief.
Mm-hmm.
He, of course, the shock is the first one, then denial. And he told me, especially with my mom, when my mom passed away, he told me that he felt like it was a dream. And he actually got kind of a little bit stuck in that place, that it wasn't real. It was just a dream.
Really?
So that was in March. And he had to drive down on Mother's Day to actually see the grave, for it to literally kick in that she's not here. So some people get stuck in some of these stages, and that's the danger. Okay, that's the danger. 7 stages. You don't want to get stuck in grief. You don't want to get stuck in shock. You don't want to get stuck in, what's the other ones? Bargaining with God. Oh, God, give me just another chance to get it right. You don't want to get stuck in anger, blaming God and blaming everybody else for what happened. And because all of those things, if you get stuck, it's going to lead to depression. It's going to lead to sometimes mental illness, unfortunately. So the prayer is always to get through the stages, not to get stuck in any one stage. Because when you do, then you never get to the place of hope. So you don't ever want to get stuck. So when you shock is fine. That's number one. You're going to automatically be shocked that they're dying, even if they're sick. It's the thing that makes us shocked is the when, because we don't know the when.
Yeah. I don't mean to cut you off, because that's interesting, because my father, he pretty much was semi-comatose from, I think it might have been Friday night or Saturday night. Mm-hmm. And up until the day he left here. Mm-hmm. As a matter of fact, what we had did that Wednesday, we had just officially signed him into hospice, and we were preparing for him to, come home. They was going to let him stay in the hospital as long as he could, and then we would transition them, to my home. We didn't want, with the consent of my mother, we didn't want him to go to their place because, again, we were looking out for mom. Going back to what you were saying, what happened to your mother, feeling that she had to be there for him 24/7. Now, my mother would have did the same thing, but in hindsight, though, we knew, she's not a young woman, even though she probably walked better than a lot of us. But
Right.
we knew that, it's a lot. It's a stressful thing. You
Yes.
there, Andre? Let me see here. You there, Andre?
I'm here.
Okay. All right. Hold on a second. Then. We're gonna be with you in a minute.
Okay.
We're gonna be with you in a minute. Yeah.
Okay.
We just wanted to. So we was gonna come to my house. He was gonna come to my house. We was preparing to set him up here. That way she could come because she's lived maybe 2 minutes from where I live. She can come here and be with him during the day, and then when my wife and I get home, she can go home and have that moment where she can, digress and have that moment to herself. Because I'm sure, man, listen, man, she loved this man. She's been with this man for 70 years of her life.
Yeah.
70 years
Wow.
of her life, man.
Wow.
So, but we wanted to, not to deprive her of being with her husband, but protect her beyond. And we show that love beyond, that's death or where he's at right now. But yeah, I was interesting because, especially with Freddie being the only son, I'm sure that he had a very, it's just a difference. But hey, Andrea, okay, I'm glad you're here. So talk to us, man. What was the effect and how did your family cope with the loss of your father?
First of all, can you guys hear me good?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. What I was saying is there's no perfect science to how you handle when one of your parents transitions. Honestly, there's not a day that goes by that I don't think about my father, and I know I speak of my siblings. And another interesting thing, every time I see my mother, it's like I think of my father. And I miss him daily, and he has instilled, and I know both of you know, especially in the music industry,
right?
And that's why I said now, even playing the bass, I won't stop until I can't do it anymore because I am enjoying it. That was one of the things. That's one of the things that my father said before he transitioned, and I thought about, you made me think about something when you mentioned your father was comatose for a few days before he transitioned, and my father was comatose before he transitioned. He was comatose for a while, and I remember when I knelt down and spoke to him and said, "Dad, if you're ready to go. We will take care of Mom."
Wow.
Wow. And I told him that, and it seemed like when I said that, it's like he let go, and that's when they let us know that he has transitioned.
Wow.
But it's good when you have siblings that you can that help each other through this time, because you deal with it, but you never get over it. And my father has been gone since 2018. He had a heart attack in 2016, and God allowed him to sing 3 times after that. But he was more frail then. But
Right,
Dad would not stop. He did what he loved to do.
Yeah.
But God did allow us a year and some change after his heart attack, and then I carry a pen with me every day, even going to work, a pendant with his picture on it. And sometimes I find myself in my office just looking and just thinking about the good times.
Right.
I'm not going to lie and say I miss him dearly, but I know he's in a better place because Dad was suffering. And I would rather him be at peace and be with our Creator instead of
Right.
being here suffering. And I didn't
Absolutely.
want to have that selfish, attitude. But honestly, it's not something that I don't think anyone can prepare for. Even though we know my father had got ill, and then he got on dialysis and different things like that. But it still hits differently once you hear that he's gone. And so I just, they say, I don't hear as much that I look like my father, but everyone says I walk like my father.
Yeah, right.
So what that helps me and my sisters and my brothers, I feel as long as we live, he lives. And so that's why we take a lot of his songs now and we rearrange them. But I know my father is nothing but proud of his children for, as far as what we're doing. But my father is a hard-working man, and he has instilled that in each and every one of his children. And that's all we can do now is just think about the good times and think about, the times we had together, him bringing us up, And I think even for you, my brother, I know this is fresh, but I know without a doubt, you, your siblings, you guys are going to be able to get through this. But your father will forever live as long as you guys live. And I know you guys are going to be together to take care of mother, because to be honest, I can't tell you how far back, for the both of you, how far we go back from when I first met you guys. But I definitely feel like we're blood family.
Oh,
that's
absolutely.
how far back we go. And brother, I'm letting you know I'm going to be there to support you guys. The celebration this coming Saturday, I will be there. And I it's just something that I don't have a pinpoint rocket science way that I can tell you to cope with it, but much prayer and just asking God to strengthen us in a time like this.
Yes. Man, that's powerful, man. Thank you so much. It's interesting when you mentioned about when you told your father that mom was gonna be okay. And I was sharing with some different ones that I didn't understand it at first, but it had to be about a month ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, that I was over at the house and I was doing something at the house for my mother. And I call them. Well, I think one of my sisters called him in the morning. Every morning, I call her every evening. Hey, mom, y'all okay? Because I tried calling Pops, but Pops didn't know how to work his phone very well. So if I just wanted to know how he was doing, I had to always go through mom, And so I was over there one day, and I was doing some work for mom, and I was taking care of something. So as I was getting ready to leave, my father's sitting in his favorite lounger. He says to me, well, I guess I'm gonna have to worry about you taking care of mom. I think mom gonna be okay. So I said, yeah. I said, she is. So I walked out and I came back in the house. I said, well, Pops, what else you expect me, us to do? Yeah, we're gonna take care of mom. Man, I said, I'm only doing what I see you do with your mother, So he said, yeah, that's good. Well, but not knowing in his own way what he was saying. This is how I took it when I reflect back, Andre and Miss Glenice's dad. He was telling me, hey, listen, son, I want you to take care of mom because I won't be here always.
Right.
That's just how I looked at it, man. That's just how I was looking at it.
That's what he was saying.
That's what he was saying. So yeah, he already knew. Even when he was in, I put it like this, so when he was in that comatose state, when we went in that room, every person that came in there, we treated him like he was just sleeping. He was just sleeping. We talked to him, conversed with him, call him out. Hey, let him know we were here. There were times, we could see where his eyeballs was moving in his eyelids. So we knew he knew what was going on. I have no doubt, man. But I think what helped me cope with it was the fact I would just tell him, I said, well, Pop's on his last mile now. He's taking this sweet, sweet time walking this mile. Jesus. And I say, and I was making the joke. I said, y'all know how he talk, man. Everybody you see, you got to have a conversation. So, As he's walking this last mile, he ain't no hurry. He gonna take his time. He gonna talk to all his friends. Tell them, hey, yeah, I'm on my way to glory. Yeah, I'm gonna when I see Jesus, I'm gonna sing and shout. Yeah, hey, I just know, man. I just know without a doubt, Pop's got man Jesus on his knees right now with laughter, man.
That's sweet. That's so sweet.
You made me think of something because a father's a good father. He loves to sit and talk to his children.
Mm-hmm.
So when my father was, when he was sick, he sat and he talked to all of us. Because like when he was with the Smiling Jubileers and then he left them and started singing with his children before. That's what you want to do in his latter years.
Right.
And I remember when he was talking to us and when he got to the part that he's not going to be here always, he just broke down crying. It's like sometimes I feel like they have a feeling or they know he just broke down crying. I'm a baby. I can't take that.
Right.
So I break that. I break down. But, it was something that my father also made us think about after he had this heart attack. He was telling us, well, when they mentioned about the life support, I ran out of the hospital. I just ran out. But as I came back in and I saw him when they had him all hooked up and his eyes were open. And after he got off life support, I'll never forget when he told us that even though he may have seemed like he was in a comatose state, he heard everything that the doctors were saying.
I believe it, man.
And it was to a point to where the doctors were saying, should we try to revive him or should we do that? He thought during that time, that was his time. He thought he was out of here. So when he rose up and he was able to live this year plus, he made sure that it was strictly family time. And if he had enough strength to sing, Dad would get on that walker and go wherever we were. Even at the youth fair, my father was on a walker, walking on a walker, just to be there to watch his children. With his family. He made sure it was always with us. So
right.
And every time I look at you, now I look at you and Elaine and everybody. I see your father because all y'all look alike to me. So I see your father, and I know without a doubt, I know this is fresh, and there's going to be times because I remember from way back in the day, your dad don't play. I know that, bro. Daddy don't play.
Nah, man.
So, and I know you. We always. Because I miss my dad used to wear the best cologne. I miss the cologne. I just miss how when my dad shake your hand, he wants to be a man. You know what I mean? It's just everything. The conversation, even, and I don't want to, even when I was going through my dark times that you and I already discussed.
Right.
But even when I was going through that, my dad was there that I can just cry and didn't feel, I didn't have to worry about being judged. My father was there for me. And that's the times that I miss, but knowing that he's not suffering and he's at the, he's with our Lord, that gives me peace because I know without a doubt.
Yeah.
Because we played when he was in that comatose state, we played his favorite music. We had conversations, and I'm just sitting here listening to you because we did the same thing. We be around everybody in the room, we just talking like Dad is not going through anything, like he's in the conversation with us.
Yep.
And that's exactly how we how we did it. So I know exactly what you're feeling. I know our sister, she's feeling the same way, but I know the family is going to be fine.
Thank you.
Amen.
Thank you. Let me ask this last question. Then we're gonna close. So your mother's still living. How are you, the siblings, helping her cope with the absence of her life partner, man?
Every day we're with Mom. Everything. Not a day go by my mom is alone. Never.
Okay.
We check on her. Anything she needs. We do our best not to even allow any type of worration. Anything she needs. Look, she brought us up. Her kids are doing well enough to take care of anything that she needs. And that's what we do. My mother does not live alone. My sister is there. My niece is there. So someone is always there, always around. So mom is doing good. You know, the only thing that changed her mom, her eating habit is not the same because look, that was a lifelong partner. So things have changed.
Right.
The mom is doing well. And like I say, every time I see mom, there's not a day go by I don't talk to mom.
Right.
There's not a day go by we don't check on mom. So that was a promise that we made to my father.
Right.
You know. Right. We just try to keep mom strong and we don't speak any negativity.
Yep. That's
around
good.
Mom.
That's good.
Amen.
Great, man. Man, you got any last sayings, man? We're gonna get ready to close here to end the show here. You got any last sayings?
Look, I just want you. Look, we're human. I just want you and the family to know if there's anything you need or if there's anything that I can do to help in this process. Please don't hesitate to call. You know, and you know, my family, we're here for you guys. Anything you need.
I believe that. Well, you're showing it now, bro. Because I just text you right before the show if you could come on and talk to us, man. You know, and you didn't even hesitate not to. You know, and I appreciate that. I'm not gonna tell you all that I'm Superman because there ain't no S on my shirt now. You know, but I'm learning. I've learned a lot from this experience, especially experiencing in the magnitude in which that you know, my family have, you know. So, but Mr. Cross, thank you so much, man, for coming on, man. And we're gonna be in contact, touch later on in the future, okay? All
Absolutely.
Right. Bless you, man.
All right. God bless.
Ms. Glenice.
Yes, sir.
Oh, wow. That was a wealth of information there.
Yes.
Left with, you have any final sayings? Final word?
No, other than just give yourself the permission to grieve.
Wow, I like that.
Yeah.
Grieve.
Yeah. Give yourself permission to grieve and don't fall into anybody else's mold.
Right.
Of grief, because everybody is different and everybody's going to go through things differently and in a way that's going to best benefit them. And however you got to get it out of you, get it out of you.
You know, that's one of the things that we had really, as a family, we come to accept that everybody handled things, even before he had transitioned. You know, everybody handled things, their emotions differently, and it's okay. You know, It's nothing to get upset about or angry about because, you know, family member is feeling a certain way. It's okay.
Yes.
Because I think in the interim of everything, we need to make sure that no matter what, that we are being supportive to one another, regardless of our state of mind, our state of being. Okay, one of the viewers are asking if you can recite the 7 stages of grief again.
Sure. Okay, the first stage is shock. The second stage is denial.
Now,
the third stage is anger. The fourth stage is bargaining. God, give me another chance. If I had done this, if I had done that. The fifth stage is depression. The sixth stage is.
I don't mean to cut you off, but that's interesting. Depression. Wow.
And what happens with depression, like I was saying earlier, if you don't resolve the shock, the denial, the anger, and the bargaining, if you don't get through those, because this is a process that you get through. It's not a process that you get bogged down in.
Okay. I see.
Yeah. If you bog yourself down in any one of them, it's going to lead you to a depression.
So you have to address these. You've
got to address them. If you don't address them, then you're leaving yourself open to even severely mental illness.
Okay. So So the fifth is depression. And the
Fifth
sixth,
is depression, yes. The sixth is acceptance and hope. Finally get to a place where you can accept, okay, they're gone. I can hopefully move forward and have hope in your own life, because a lot of times your life goes on hold now because
wow.
you're dealing with all of this, your emotions. You're dealing with your process. And then the last state is processing the grief.
So
And,
even with the processing the grief,
mhm.
there's there is just not no one format that works for everybody. Okay.
No,
Okay.
no. And even in these steps, it's going to you can overlap them. People
Right.
can overlap them. They can go out of order. You don't have to be anger, grief. It's not necessarily going to go into that order. It depends on the individual and on the person. And then you'll think you're okay.
Mm-hmm.
Then all of a sudden, you'll see something that will trigger,
Okay.
and then you're back to step one. That's why we say it's a process.
So
You
go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say that's why we say it's a process. It's not something that you're gonna get over like right now. It won't happen.
So it's safe to say that well, let me say it this way.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, I'm looking at these to see where I'm fitting in here.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I think if you're in the situation, you should be honest with yourself to see where you can where you might fit in on either one of these seven
Yep.
things.
Where are you now? And so God, I need your help. And I'm telling you, when I say prayer through this whole process, I'm telling you, prayer is the thing that has kept me sane. Because I would get upset, I would get angry, I'm in shock, I'm in denial. Maybe it really ain't death. Maybe she's, maybe it's that's not her. Even to the point when they brought the body in, when you pass away over time, your skin changes. And my mom was fair skinned.
Right.
When
Right.
they brought that body in, she was darker than me. I'm like, that's not my mama.
Wow. Wow.
That there's the denial. That's not her.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but it's like, no, it's her. She goes either in the ground or in the mausoleum. You go to the house, she's not there. Okay, so yeah, that was her.
Wow.
So you have to work your way through all of these, and
Man, these
trust God to bring you out sane.
right. These are great points. Thank you so much for sharing.
Mm-hmm.
So much. Hey, listen, we're gonna get out of here. And again, thank you so much again, Dr. Glover, for your time. Say hello to your husband for me.
Will
Let him
do.
know I appreciate him sharing you with a father's tonight. So,
I will tell him.
I definitely appreciate that. So we'll be talking soon, okay?
Okay, very well.
All right, God bless.
Y'all be blessed. We
Yeah.
won't be there on Saturday. I think I told you. I'm so sorry, but he's graduating from doctorate school, so we have to be out of town. But otherwise, I would definitely be there. We also had a family member to pass away whose funeral is the same day in Miami, but I
Wow.
would probably have come to your dad's.
Right. Right. You know what, though? You coming on the show tonight is just as if you're going to be there Saturday.
Amen. Amen.
Appreciate
Very good.
All right. God bless you. Now have a great night.
God bless you. You too.
All right. Hey, thank you everyone for your comments and you tuning in. We pray and hope that we've said something and that you've gotten something out of this conversation tonight. I know I certainly have, and I think it's a good thing to know that I am not alone, or my family is not alone, and that there are other families that are going through what we're going through now. And I can honestly say there are a lot of things that we know. Well, okay, there are families that are going through what we're going through now that can relate with what we're relating through. You're certainly welcome, Miss White. Thank you so much for your participation, all of you so much, and we thank you for your prayers. And I'm sure that my mother certainly appreciates all of your supports, your cars, your texts, your phone calls. Hey, we're gonna do this. So what's going to be happening Let me see. Let me make sure that I get this information night out. We're going to have a viewing of the body. Let me see here. Let me get this information here. See, my sisters, they've been handling all this stuff. I just told them, listen, I'm just on mama mode. That's it. I'm going to look out for mama, make sure mama good. And y'all handle whatever y'all need to handle. Okay, so May 27th, the viewing, there's going to be a viewing and memorial service at Friendship Missionary Baptist Church, 740 Northwest 58th Street, 33127. That's in Miami. That's going to be from 5 to 9 p.m., 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. That'll be Friday. And we'll have a celebration of the life of my father. Man, I'm looking forward to that. You know, I ain't shouted in a long time. I might shout this Saturday. I said shout, maybe I mean dance show. I'm going to do both. I'm sure I'll go do both. And my father was such a great man. Such a great man. Yeah, but anyway, Sunday, I'm sorry, I don't know why I keep saying Sunday, but Saturday, May 28th at 11 a.m., we'll be having his celebration service at the Upper Room Ministries in Miami Gardens. That will be 3800 Northwest 199th Street in Miami Gardens, as I stated, 33055. I believe yes to the question that it will be streamed live. I will, let me see. I don't know if my sister's on here. Sis, if you are watching, let us know if it's going to be streamed live, okay? For those that are unable to make it. Let me see if I can get her real quick here. Yeah, I know who you are, Regina. I know. Yeah, we gotta get over. We done been here real long. But I believe it's gonna be, I believe that it will be live. Okay. Let me see. Trying to see if she's gonna respond, because I don't want to give false information. I really don't. Let's see. Will the service? I'm texting her now. Yeah, I believe she did say that. So anyway, if it's not, and I'm sure we probably video it or something. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. The prices are for flights are. Hey, you got to pull on some favor. Pull on them friends. Tell them to help you out so you can come and see Grandpa. Tell them you want to be there. All them folks, they say that your friend and whatever you need from them, they help you. They'll just give them a call. Don't let them act like they got amnesia now. Forget what they said. Hey, go ahead and reach out to them. Hey, reach out to the family. Take up a collection. Okay, so she's going to find out. All right, she's going to find out if it's going to be live streamed. Okay, hey, we got to go. I certainly appreciate all of you. And without any further ado, we plan to be back next week, next Sunday. Let's see here. Before I go, make sure I got everything covered. If you're not doing anything Thursday night, check out my brother from another mother, Mr. Aaron Gibbons, Real Talk Podcast. He comes on that Thursday nights at 7 p.m. on Facebook Live. Great show, you all. Great content. He discusses everything, but it's very good content, okay? So check him out, all right? And then we also have, I'm sure he probably on now. Let me see here. I think I got him. Yeah, Let's Talk Marriage. They come on at 8 p.m. on Sunday nights, right after me. But I'm hogging their time right now. Nevertheless, check them out. They have a very good content over there as well. So support them as well. Okay. All right. We out of here. I'm going to say good night to all of you, and we will see you next week.
Lionel Nelson here. Welcome to A Father's Note, promoting fathers through building men. It's so important that we always stand up for our fathers. We want you to know we're with you. We're standing behind you 110%.